I'm Ian Sullivan. This is the Division D calling the Audible. Thank you all for joining us. I'm joined by Brett Bodkin, the wonderful Brett Bodkin. Mr. Badgies himself can be tweeted at Badgies51 if you'd like to tweet me and berate me for the low quality of this podcast for free. You can present this as a you can also Chapman at Master Control. Hopefully the show gets better from him. Nowhere to go but up.
Nah.
No, just
we can still go down.
We can still go. It can still get worse. It can still get worse. Brent, how was your week?
My week is good. Long but good. As you know, today we had the NFL Play 60.
Yeah, that was fun.
FPF combination today. Tons of kids. Great turnout. We had a couple members, current and former members of the Patriots, come out. It was an awesome time.
I'm a Dolphins fan, so it was. Yeah. I was like, man, I got to do this with the Patriots, but they were good. They were good guys. Gino Grisham and Lawyer Malloy was there, and
Kevin Falk.
Kevin Falk as well. Kevin Falk was a nice dude. Yeah. He was just a really good fun. He had fun. He had as much fun as the kids.
Exactly.
It was awesome.
The guard there, Joe Tooney as well.
Joe Tooney was a nice guy too. Just like anyone offensive or defensive line terrifies me. Like they're just otherly beings. But still, happy to be involved in the event. It was absolutely cool. I remember talking to Rob, like, how do we get involved to do something like this? This is before we even had FPF Junior, about 3 years ago. And it's just awesome to see it come to fruition. And having the Junior League has been absolutely amazing. It's been enjoyable for me, like as I got to coach for a couple of seasons. And aside from that, just to see the joy that it brings people involved and to see the parents and see the children involved, it's been absolutely amazing. If you have children, you haven't had a chance to sign them up for FPF Junior, you're doing them a disservice because it's really, really great. If you think you enjoy the league, your kids, I promise you will enjoy it more. If you think you enjoy hearing a podcast about yourself, I promise you your kids will enjoy that more.
Definitely, 1,000%. I'll just speak on that
Go
quickly.
ahead.
I mean, and piece of saying if you have kids, even if you don't have kids, you have nieces, nephews,
someone else's kids.
Anyway,
kidnap them.
Kids.
Don't do that.
Don't
kidnap other children.
Walking in the street and just grabbing kids, putting them in a van, and bringing them out. Nah, like you said, it's a great time. A lot of families come out, and it is kind of a family affair. I find with like the Edge Hills, the Bentleys. It's something where we see a lot of kids in FPF Junior and now who are making that jump starting last season to the adult league, and it's phenomenal. It's a great thing. So again, just bring any kids bring them out. It's a good time.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's really, really enjoyable. The first season I coached, my girlfriend told me, she says, I don't even know what's happening with any of your teams, but all I know is what's happening with your FPF Junior team. That's all you talk about, and it's true. It's truly, truly an amazing experience. So it's great to be out there. Brent, I've come to realize what we do as a podcast is often enjoyed and sometimes unappreciated, which is fine. Division E especially, there's 2 articles, there's a podcast. You can get your coverage any way you like.
Exactly.
We do something a little different. I like what we do. It's been an enjoyable experience. Now that we're getting to the end of the season, I don't want to tell you that. A lot of people want reality, but instead they want to exaggerate a little fiction. That's what a lot of podcasts do. Instead, we do our own thing. We have a good time. It really is. I want to have a feel of just a bunch of dudes sitting around in the basement, grabbing a couple of beers, talking about football, and that's what it's been. It's been a truly fun experience over the past couple of seasons working with you.
And having some sandwiches courtesy of Chapman,
which he never brings.
Yeah.
Next week.
I don't know. It's been next week for a couple of weeks, bro.
Yeah.
No, it's been 1 week. It should have been 1 week, Brent. Don't you dare say that.
I mean, it feels like a bunch of weeks.
Now, if you read the piece, it's been a great time. Obviously, we started teaming up last winter, and it's gone over now to the spring/summer season. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's been fun. So, did you get any messages from Just for the Reps telling you, hey, you're right, we didn't play well enough to beat primetime? Or do we only get those texts when teams win games?
Now, I didn't get a test, but you know what I got? I played a version of Just for the Reps last night with my C team, the commission. We played Friends in Low Places. Now, Justin Ochinero,
awesome
the author of a lot of the text message back and forth last week, was there with his team on the sideline. He unfortunately was injured. He didn't play, but it was a couple of the guys too. Justin Mateo, a couple of the cats. And it was a lot of none talking and a lot of silence from some of those guys. You know, Alice Gray as well. Yeah, anyways, a lot of guys were there. Jared Buck as well. It's cool when you want to come at us. I've always encouraged people to reach out to me.
Awesome.
I get my personal email, so I always just encourage people to reach out to me. But when you kind of don't say anything afterwards, after the fact, like you talk a lot of, you go back to high school, you meet somebody who talks a lot of trash, and then you whip their ass, and then they're kind of silent after. Yeah, that's not a good look.
And I will say, Brent Bodkin watches more Division E than like most scorekeepers do. Like you watch a lot of games. Our analysis isn't based on nothing, and it's not based on personal prejudice. To be honest,
Not at all.
I mean, my team is an excuse to hang out with my brother and Chapman, a good friend of mine, once a week. It's fun. It's awesome. We have a good time. It like. We're old. We've gotten to a point where we're so old we don't expect a lot. we barely expect to be healthy after the game. But like Chap and I got to have a couple of beers and listen to Phil Collins after the game last week.
And eat some sandwiches.
Eat some sandwiches that you didn't bring today.
No, they're different sandwiches. You see.
But I will say this is. I think that for refs to really be competitive, Jared Buck needs to be incredible, and Jared Buck was not. He threw 4 interceptions in this game. Those coming courtesy of Vincent Blandin, 2 interceptions, Brendan Sabloff, an interception, and Cheyenne Stewart, an interception. Brendan Sabloff does a lot of what he does playing the flats. That's impressive. That takes a lot of instincts. It takes a lot of quickness. I know because he picked me off in the flats. So prime time, they're finding their stride just in time for playoff time.
No, definitely just in time for the playoff time. I mean, if you look at these guys, they're a team who I picked even in an article I wrote last week, and I mentioned they're a sleeper team. I believe right now they are on. I'll tell you in 2 seconds. Prime time. I believe it's a 4-game winning streak. I believe it's 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4-game winning streak. They're playing good on both sides of the ball. They're creating turnovers on defense. Their offense is scoring. I mean, let's see. The last couple of games, they've put up a lot of points. And it's a thing where they're not only are they playing well, but they're hitting their stride at the right time. Because right now we're week 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they finish off the regular season. They play against Part of My Swag. That should be another good game. If they can knock off Part of My Swag, that will make it actually 4 in a row. Pardon me. They're on a 3-game winning streak. The last loss was in week 6 in Moss City. That was actually a tight game. Could have went either way. But again, they're hitting their stride at the right time. They're playing great football. They've scored. They dropped 30. They dropped 28. They dropped another 30. They dropped 54 on one speed power.
Yeah. That was a lot of peas jumping 54 in themselves, to be honest.
Either way, they almost dropped a 60 burger. So what I'm saying is, offensively, they're moving the ball. They're getting everybody involved. As you know, no matter what division you play, that's not always the case. So the fact that the quarterback is spreading around the ball to all the different receivers, making everybody involved in the offense, and essentially having everyone become a threat is key in their defense. They're getting stops. They've given up 7 points. The week before,
the thing
6.
is, while they're new to FPF, they've played together a long time.
That's it.
And that's why they're able to get all their weapons involved. Face Jazz showing up with one too many weapons. They lose in a forfeit. They lost twice in a night because they lost the West Delisle squad, and then West Delisle squad chose to accept the forfeit because of the points against helps for playoff seeding. It's an unfortunate situation. The Face Jazz did not know Derek Hasid had played in Division E already. So for that reason, that's why they were just trying to fill the roster. To be honest, it wasn't ill intent, but unfortunately that's the rule. So if you do get last minute subs, please make sure that they are not already playing in the division. Brent, did you catch any games?
I had a chance last night to catch, I believe it was Le President against the Farmers. That game, I gotta say, Le President, I mean, they're a better team than what they were last year, and especially what they were in last year's spring season. They're coming off a huge victory over us, like I mentioned last week, the Striking Samurais. That game was 12-7 at the half for Le President, and they had created a turnover. They had a lot of momentum. Guys were high-fiving each other. Things were going good. They were moving the ball. And then the second half is just I'm not gonna say they gave up, but they couldn't do anything. They couldn't move the ball. I believe there was an interception too thrown by the quarterback. Either way, it's a thing where I've seen it a couple of times with these guys this season. They play a half, or they play a bit of a half, and then it's just they hit a wall and they can't do anything. They can't get stops and they can't get first downs.
The thing with le choix du président, Gabriel Bellin-Lapointe, he's better than I give him credit for. He throws a nice ball, but he tends to move a lot and then throw across his body because he sees a receiver open. Yeah. But the receiver's only open because that defender has bailed, because you roll the other way. And, man, so few guys have the arm strength to do that. He definitely does not. He needs to start just making proper reads at being the play.
And it's smart what you're saying in terms. I understand why a quarterback's going to roll out. Obviously, you want to avoid the rush. But if you're rolling out,
roll the pocket. Move your reads that way.
That's exactly it. And if you're going to do that, a more valuable tool would be looking off of people, because you can get defenses to move to one side of the field just by looking in that direction, and then you come back and throw. Let's say you look to your left, you come back and throw to the right, and vice versa, instead of rolling out. But then
you can't. Yeah, like you can do that and take 2-3 steps to one side and then throw across your body, but you can't roll to the sideline and then throw across your body.
There you go, exactly.
Off your back foot, being chased by the rusher. You know, it's definitely a position you don't want to be in. TBA got a wake up call.
Yeah, definitely.
They lost in their game to Moss City 38-13. Moss City's good, man. I actually caught a little bit of this game. Andrew Ferrier, your boy, 6 touchdowns. I mean, these are the two guys we've championed this season, Chris Sekira and Andrew Ferrier. Andrew Ferrier looking better. How difficult is it for quarterbacks to transition from tackle to FPF, as we're seeing Claire Sekira having some difficulty from week to week?
Yeah, it's extremely hard. I mean, we were talking even off air about Avery Lala. It's obviously when you play a quarterback in tackle football, you have an O-line, right? So you have time in the pocket. You could drop back, take a 5 or a 7-step drop back. You have time. You could look at your first read, look at your second read. If you have time, maybe even your third or your fourth before deciding to run or throw. And FPF, as we see, there's a rusher coming, but there's no O-line. So you have literally, providing you get a good snap, you have maybe 4 seconds to get the ball off.
It's not even that.
Yeah.
I mean, when your team is winning, it feels like 4 seconds, but it's. I mean, if it's 3.5 seconds, it's a lot of time.
And you know, you're a quarterback. That's exactly it. And I find
that was the hardest thing for me just to is having a guy run at you and having to be able to throw and step in and not step on another human being and you know, like making good plays, you know. So it's definitely something to take some time, and it's a different mechanic from throwing and tackle, and the spacing on the field is different. It's narrow. You don't have the same space you have in tackle, and I think that's where Clay Secure has struggled. Hot Boys Hotline win again. Their kind of game, 32-12. I like this version of Hot Boys Hotline. They had the virtue of having some free agents that didn't have a rating coming into the season. Looking at Edward Valmay, for example. Looking at Barry Yearwood. These guys are legit athletes. And I was talking to Eagle after the game. He called me to inform me of, by the way, stat update. Armando Trotta, still 1 catch in his career. He also earned an OC in this game. And for someone talking about teamwork and playing defense and being there for the team, he left the game early after you got your OC.
That's kind of the total opposite of teamwork.
Yeah, that's the opposite. So maybe you should learn what that means. But Patrick Manning still doing what I described, where he rolls to the side, he floods his receivers, and Eagles and a very intelligent play caller on defense. Yep. And what he did was have somebody shoot the gap and have the other safety roll over and dare the quarterback to throw it across the field. And Hot Boys Hotline have the athletes to take that away. They did. And we saw their best athlete, Edward Valmay, getting the 2 interceptions, getting his hand on another ball. Yep. Like, it's so frustrating because, and you see it right here, because they scored 12 points. If I'm not mistaken, they scored in the first 2 drives or 2 of the first 3. Again, I wasn't there, so I'm using my information from Eagle. But at the same time, you see it, the team adjusts, and then they don't have much to do. And the worst part is, if you see Patrick Manning, he has a good arm, he's a good athlete, he makes plays, but then he throws the game away by just limiting himself to throwing in a 10-yard wide corridor.
That's exactly it. Again, like I said, playing against those guys, I said last week, earlier in the season, everything you said is right. Manning is a good quarterback, especially in Division E, but he does limit himself and their offense by, again, checking down all the time. Lack of imagination, too, I think really hurts their offense because it's
hard to be imagined when you're basically running the plays down this one corridor down the sideline.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And I remember playing against him. Like I said, there were shots to be had downfield against us. We were shorthanded for that game, and there were shots to be had downfield, and he either didn't see them, didn't throw them, or just decided to stick with whatever the game plan was going in, and not adapting to any changes that we made on defense or any other teams are making in Division E on defense when they play Sons of Mitches for the most part.
Yeah. Here for the beer, in 4th and 20 in the bottom of the Battle of the Basement Dwellers. Here for the beer upset, 4th and 20, over 18-7, in a game where there were 14 completed passes between both teams. 5 completed passes for Vince Minetti and 9 completed passes for Thomas Provo. This, by week 10, man, it's surprising. I don't understand how quarterbacks routinely throw less than 10 completions. Like, hooks and slants, guys, just get momentum. You know what I mean? Like, it's the easiest thing to just get momentum. Help. Your guys will get yards for you. It's Division E. Lots of guys miss tackles. You know, it's going to happen. So just get the ball. You can't advance if your receivers don't get the ball. Like there wasn't even 200 total yards passing between both teams in this game.
And you see, and this speaks to 4th and 20. I mean, they're a veteran team. They've been around for a while. A lot of guys have FPF experience. You go to the quarterback, though, Vince Minetti, 5 for 17, 1 TD and INT, 64 yards. Last week against the Farmers, where they pulled off the massive upset, I believe they put 32 points on the board. 32-19. He was 9 of 19 with 4 TDs. Now, speaking to your point, obviously, quarterbacks need to get 10 or more completions, ideally to win, although that's not always the case, as we see. But,
well, I mean, it's not the case if the other quarterback only has 5 completions.
Well, there you go, right? But, I mean, you look at 4th and 20, and it's just it's vexing that they could come out and get a huge victory last week that helps out their playoff chances. But then they come in against a 1-win here in the beer team, and they got to crap to bed, losing 18-7. I mean, I expected more out of that team, especially coming off of the win they had last week.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, again, here for the Bears is a team that's been struggling. So I mean, I'm happy to see them win, but it's a surprising outcome nonetheless. Chapman, how are we doing on time?
15 minutes in.
We'll do one more game. Yamajo Station.
That's the game. Exactly. I'm thinking the exact same thing.
Yamajo
Actually, I do
Station.
have another game that I saw, but we'll do that one first.
Yamajo Station.
Well, they beat the Ricans. The Ricans, sorry. Oof, I mispronounced the team
come
name.
on now.
Yamajo Station beating the Ricans 55-6. This surprised me to a degree because I thought that
Why?
the Ricans have a lot of athleticism, and Yamajo Station couldn't just go out there and be the better athletes. They'd have to script and scheme, and I thought this game would be closer. I thought Yamajo Station would win. I thought this would be sort of like a 32-18, 32-24 kind of game, not 55-6. I didn't see that coming. And 3 interceptions by TVD Joseph, 1 by Devin Hintermuller, who's not a guy who's talked about a lot, but great defender. 2 more by Alvy Mazel. Just, man, if you're throwing 7 interceptions, it's a tough game.
Now, I understand what you're saying about the Ravens being athletic, because I've said it time and time again. They're an extremely fast team. But I'm not really that surprised seeing, that Yamajo is playing lights out.
Station.
Pretty much, right? Yeah, Yamajo Station is playing lights out right now. The Ravens offensively, you mentioned 7 interceptions. They have 3 quarterbacks who combined to go 4 of 22 for 3 yards. So that's a yard a quarterback. Not a mathematician, but that's a yard a quarterback, and it's almost a completion a quarterback. Again, there were 4 completions with 3 quarterbacks. It's their quarterback play is what's killing these guys, because they have some talent. I mean, they have a couple of wins. They were in the playoff hunt. They're 2-7. You have to get even average quarterback play, or just below average quarterback play, especially in Division E. It will carry you kind of far in most circumstances. But again, you're getting 3 yards out of 3 QBs and 7 INTs. That's more interceptions than actual yards, and more
Yeah.
interceptions than completions. That's not going to get you
More
anywhere.
interceptions than yards is impressive.
That's true.
That's very
That
that's
is-
hard
that
to
is
do.
true. I'll give you that.
That's
I'll
hard
give
to
you
do.
that. I'll give you that.
What was the game you want to talk about?
The Homo sapiens against Dirty Mike and the boys.
GM Calethris messaged me.
Yep.
He told me they got lucky to win this game.
Yeah, they did get lucky. I was talking to Jordan Allard last night, and he was just saying that the pick that GM got bounced off the ground. He scooped it up and ran it back for a pick 6. And he says everybody on the Homo sapiens stopped running as soon as the ball hit the ground, and everyone on his team stopped running. Jordan said he was halfway walking back to the huddle to call the next play, and GM just started running down the sideline, and it got called for a touchdown.
It's a heads-up
So-
play by a veteran,
Yeah,
not stopping to the
definitely.
whistle, man.
Well, that's exactly it. That's what I was telling him. But I mean, it's, referees are gonna miss a call. It is what it is. No one's perfect. It sucks. They had a chance, Dirty Mike and the boys, to tie the game up. They were down 25-18 with 5 plays left. They scored a touchdown. Jonathan McQueen, they went for the 2-point conversion and it failed, and that was pretty much the end of the game. For Dirty Mike and the boys, though, I think now you got to look at them going forward. They're not playing their best football. I mean, they've lost 2 out of the last 3 games. They're playing you guys coming up on Sunday night, and I think right now they could be for the taking.
I mean, perhaps. It depends who shows up for One Speed Power. And which piece shows up for One Speed Power. As this week saw my brother David Del Rocca on offense, which is always interesting, if not awful.
The scary side.
So, I mean, the thing is that, it's a game that's not worth a ton, so I don't know what we're going to get out of either team, as both teams are pretty much fairly locked into their playoff positions, and both teams are clinched. And that brings us to the playoff discussion as we get into, looking at the rankings. For those who haven't been watching every week, remember that you can find the playoff standings by clicking on the Division E tab, then going to Overview. So my iPad is lagging, guys. Then going to Overview and then seeing it appear right above the standings. You can click on playoff standings, I believe.
Yep, exactly.
Playoff standings. And then once you're there, it'll give you the breakdown. However, do be diligent. We've been trying to sort out the issue with the tiebreakers. Our tiebreakers apparently are fairly complex for the program to handle, for their site to handle. For anyone paying attention out there, it's not actually complex, but apparently it's a lot for our website to handle. We're actually working on a new website as well. So hopefully when the new website's launched, it'll be a little more sophisticated and can handle this kind of information. But nonetheless, Chapman, why don't you tell us what the playoff rankings are in Conference A?
So we have Lost Avocados in first place at 7-2, Homo Sapiens in second, West Devil Squad in third, and then after that, fourth place we have Greendale Human Beings. Fifth place
Je
is
radiostation.
Nice.
Dirty Mike and the Boys is in sixth, Just for the Reps in seventh, Farmers are in eighth, Little Giants are in ninth, Spartans are 10th, Sons of Mitches are 11th, and Le Choix du Président are 12th. The 3 teams that are, I think they still might have a chance, I'm not sure.
Nope, they're all eliminated.
Not even with a little help.
Nope.
So I don't mention them.
No, Here for the Beer get in over Le Choix du Président? That's the only one. Or Raccoons can't because of the
Racons.
tiebreaker. Racons. Man,
Come on now.
Man, sorry guys, I'm off today. We're working all day at the FPF Play 60. Here for the Beer, it would be too difficult for them to get back in it. They have already 295 points against, so they don't have any tiebreaker over Le Choix du Président. That would be difficult. Here for the Beer do play Hot Boys Hotline this week, so they have a tough matchup nonetheless. So given that, do we see all the division leaders being locked?
Yeah, I think so. Well, you know what? Actually, there's a big question with Yamajo Station and Greendale Human Beings. Now, Yamajo beat them 2 weeks ago. Right now, Yamajo sits in 5th with 12 points. The Greendale Human Beings sit in 4th with 14 points. Now, if you look ahead of the schedules, GHB plays the Rackins Rakins, sorry, my bad, Rakins.
We're tired,
you
man.
mixed me up. Yeah, it's been a long day.
We've been working since like 1.
I'm
It's a
helping.
long day.
No, I'm not getting upset. I'm just correcting you guys.
Hey, anyways, so yeah, GHB they play the Rakins, and then Yamajo faces Los Avocados. So it's gonna be huge. I don't know, maybe if the Rakins could pull off the upset, but other than that, I think at least the 4 and 5 seed is pretty much locked in. But there's a lot of teams. Like we have a glut of teams right now
But
tied.
that was my next
for
question. If we look at the Glut teams at 5 and 4 and 4 and 5, we have Just for Reps at 5 and 4, despite their own idea of their dominance. Farmers at 5 and 4. Who are Farmers?
We are farmers. Dum 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 dum.
Little Giants at 5 and 4. Spartans and one of the weaker Spartans rosters we've seen all season long. A lot of it due to injuries, of course. Being 4 and 5. Sons of Mitches at 4 and 5, and Soy President at 3 and 6. But let's look at specifically the 5 and 4, 4 and 5 teams. Do you see any movement there, Brent?
I definitely see. I think the Little Giants. They're playing Striking Samurais.
Big win this past week, by the way.
Yeah, a huge win. Yeah, a huge win. So I think they have a good chance to make it 2 in a row. I mean, you mentioned their W. They got a huge win against Friday Night Tykes, 25-13. So now they finish off this coming Tuesday night against us, Striking Samurais and Brassard. I have to like their chances out of Little Giants. They're coming out of there with the W.
Yeah, pretty much. I see that helping them. Just for the Reps, can you look up also chat who Farmers have as last game? Just for Reps have Spartans. It's a game.
Farmers are playing Montreal Raiders.
Montreal. So Farmers should win. Just for Reps should win as well, however, because again, I think Spartans are solid, but I think they're just missing a little bit of firepower that they've had in the past. And that plays to Just the Reps' advantage.
Just the Reps and Spartans?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm taking the Spartans on that one. I think that has nothing to do with last week, honestly.
It has everything to do with last week.
No, it honestly doesn't. It honestly doesn't, and I'll tell you why. For as much
I mean, you
as
could
this
save it
team-
for the picks.
Okay, well, yeah. Okay, but
You know how the
See, I
show's
know.
structured. Just save it, man.
All right,
save
I'll save it.
In Conference B, what do we got, Chap?
So in Conference B, we have Hot Boys Hotline in first place, Moss City in second. The
Who
Pension
thought
Plan-
we'd ever see the day, by the way? Hot Boys Hotline in first place.
Yeah, seriously.
It's the season's not over yet. Hopefully things can
I
change.
think they're locked in, but go ahead.
Maybe not actually.
Go ahead. While you're reading it, I'll do
Yeah.
the research.
So third place is the Pension Plan. Fourth is TVA. Fifth is Pardon My Swag. Sixth is Primetime. Seventh is Super Troopers. Eighth is Smokin' Axholes. 9 is the Expendables. 10 is Face Jazz. 11 is One Speed Power. And 12 is DGC. And I'm guessing fourth and 20 still has a chance to make it in, right?
420 what?
Blaze it.
Yeah.
No, actually, yes.
They think they have a chance. They're
Maybe
13.
420 Blazing has a chance, not mathematically eliminated. Friday Night Tykes, do they have a head-to-head with
Friday Night.
DGC?
I'm not sure. Let me check.
Ma City's playing. My bad, sorry. Well, Ma City's playing Friday Night Tykes.
So they're eliminated.
Likely, yes. They don't.
I don't mean to be
actually-
mean, but
what's interesting
It
is
is what it is.
if 420 Blazing win, and DGC.
also.
Wait a second. I don't understand why DGC is holding that last spot over 420
Is this
Blazing.
an error in our program?
Yeah, because-
perhaps?
No, because DGC beat 420 Blazing in week 3.
Did they?
Yeah,
That
they beat them
type of
28-14.
I didn't see the matchup. Okay, there we go. Okay, so they have the head-to-head. Okay, so, man, yes. 4th and 20 need to win. DGC need to lose. 420 Blazing you said they have who this week? They have Moss City.
Moss City, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
lost.
DGC has West Alal Squad, which is also tough. It's tough to see any movement there. Friday Night Tykes, all but mathematically eliminated. I think they have a slight chance to get in. If they win,
And DGC in 4th and 20, I guess, have to both lose.
yeah, exactly.
And then they got to get in on tiebreaker.
And they do have a slight tiebreaker over DGC in that they have a divisional win and DGC doesn't.
Friday Night Tykes actually beat 4th and 20 in week 2. So,
But,
So they would-
but head-to-head won't matter.
But I think it'll be a three-way tie
Yeah,
most
head-to-head
likely.
won't matter in a three-way tie.
True. Okay, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, because Friday Night Tykes need a three-way tie to get in.
Yeah.
And they have the divisional tiebreaker over both DGC and 4th and 20. 420 Blazing, who don't have a divisional win. Montreal Raiders, thanks for coming out. Your season's over.
It's a good jersey.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed watching them play. Good dudes, good guys.
Yeah, for sure.
62 points scored, 320 against. That's not going to do it for. That's not gonna do it for you. Collect. Get an idea of what you want to do for next season. Bring back your team because we like seeing you play. You'll learn. You'll get better. I'm not worried about that. So, looking at what we have here, Brent, do Hot Boys Hotline retain the one spot?
It's going to be interesting because Hot Boy Hotline, they finish with Here for the Beer. And Moss City, again, we said finishes Friday Night Tight. So I think Hot Boys Hotline have it wrapped up.
But now interestingly, man, this has been awful. Sorry, the technology is not cooperating with us tonight. For Moss City, isn't this last game a divisional game?
It is. So if they win,
so if they win, and Hot Boys Hotline win, they will earn the one spot.
That's right. Yeah, you know what? You're right. Sorry, I apologize. You're absolutely right.
But how does Hot Boys Hotline rank first? Even like they both have 3 divisional wins. They have the loss. I don't understand.
So we have a weird thing with our divisional standings. What happens is it's about most total wins, not percentage of wins.
Oh,
which has been awful in seasons past when not all divisions are
they
the
both
same
have the
size.
same total wins.
Sorry?
They both have the same total wins in their division.
Yes, so that no longer becomes a tiebreak. So it goes to points against.
I see.
That's 124 points against for Hot Boys
I see
Hotline and
now.
136 for Moss City. But it's frivolous at this point. Pension plan hold on to their spot, you think? Is there even a chance for them to lose their seating?
Pardon me, is it possible
Pension plan.
For the pension plan?
Super Troopers can move up. They have a divisional game as well, where Pension Plan does not. So if both teams win, Super Troopers.
The Super Troopers, right? They close up with Face Jazz. I mean, right now, based off of how Face Jazz is playing, whether they have the roster there or not, I like the chances of Super Troopers.
So likely Super Troopers, in that scenario, move up to take.
I'm pretty sure
that last spot. By the way, we just got a text from Justin Ochinero.
Yeah, I got it too. That's
very classy, saying, "Hey, Pease, you're right." It was just a joke, my man. We're just teasing you guys.
By the way, Super Troopers should be above Pension Plan, no? Because Super Troopers beat Pension Plan last week. 40-6, so that's
it's
wrong.
a two-way tie.
Yeah.
So Super Troopers are actually the second-ranked team. By the way, I'm CC'd on all the emails with Rob regarding the standings.
Send more of them, please.
You have no idea how many emails are about this stuff.
Send them twice if you have to.
Please send them twice.
Good times.
It's difficult to deal with. Again, we're dealing with a new tool, guys. So be patient. It'll get better every season, I promise. So my bad. In second place, Chapman, thank you for doing that research. We actually have
third place in the whole conference is going to be Super Troopers as opposed to Pension Plan.
So the only way that the Pension Plan can move up is if Super Troopers lose and Pension Plan wins. So Pension Plan are actually sitting at 7th at the moment, not 3rd. They'd be very disappointed when they find out of that's the fact.
The website lied to us again.
This time it wasn't Simo Dashne.
He'll lie to them anyway.
TBA sitting at 7-2 is interesting. Part of my swag are in a good spot. They always seem to do this every season. Is being good in a good playoff form.
It's true. It's very true.
So here now in the Glut teams, we have Pension Plan at 5-4, Smoke and Axles at 5-4, the Expendables 5-4, Face Jazz 4-5. Do you see any movement there?
That's a tough one.
You said you thought Super Troopers. Well, mind you, Super Troopers already.
Well, yeah, Super Troopers. Well, they've already moved. Yeah, and it's been that quick. There you go.
It's been that easy.
It depends on a lot of things. I mean, you look at 8 and 9 right now. It's Smoking Axolots and the Expendables. That definitely the Expendables. They finished off with the Smoking. Actually, they're playing each other. Smoking Axolots. So something will be decided.
Definitely,
Sunday,
there'll either be movement or no movement.
What if they tie?
Then no movements though, because it's a tie.
Yeah, actually, you're right. No movements because it's a tie. So I'm pretty sure they're right behind, one game behind Face Jazz.
Yeah, and we have the head-to-head with Face Jazz. So
Well,
if we
there
win,
you
we
go.
move up to 10th.
That's exactly. So I think there's going to be a pretty decent amount of moving in this final weekend.
Yeah,
in
it should be
Conference B.
interesting. So that brings us to
Games of the week, or are we skipping chaperonyms this week?
why would we skip Chaffin?
I don't know. I got no script. I don't know what's going on anymore. You slacking, Peas.
Man.
You slacking.
I wonder why there's no script today, Chapman.
I have no idea why.
Watch Facebook Live and you'll know why.
I don't, guys. Don't
By the
watch-
way, already-
don't watch Facebook Live. It's a complete waste of time.
Already over 550 views, so that's pretty awesome.
That's why. Don't watch it. So let's go with Chapronyms. Please explain what it is. I could give you a break, but screw that.
Every week in Chapronyms, Chapman will give us an acronym. We will take our best guess as to what we think the acronym is, and even not our best guess. Often we'll just try to be humorous. Chapman will then choose which acronym he likes best, and that will become the new definition. Thereby, we learn nothing.
I'm convinced like Steph Fens really hated Chapronyms. That's why he's no longer on the show. Or do you think it was because he
I
lost to
think so
Brent and
too.
Jenga?
I think it's because he lost a bit.
I think it's more of the latter. Definitely. He's lost to me and Jenga. But again, I think the Chapronyms too. They weren't his cup of tea.
For those who don't know, last year during the FPF, this is the reason we were changing the product.
I don't know. I thought the Jenga one was pretty awesome.
We turned our press conference into a Japanese video game, Japanese game show, where Brent and Steph had to successfully remove a block from the Jenga in order to ask a question. Chapman could only ask questions from a random question generator. Have one loaded for later. We'll do one before the end of the show. And so then Rob was like, "Please, we need to change." Because we can't do that again, and so we're doing something different, which it worked.
But I will say, as the John Cena of FPF Jenga players, I did bring my Jenga set to your place, to your barbecue. I beat you. I beat Natalia. Any and all challengers, my friends.
Yeah,
Any and all challengers. Feel free to come.
I was not sober. This is what I'm going with.
Neither was I, but that's besides the point. That's besides the point.
All right, the Chapronym this week will be MACD. So it's MAC and then D.
The Morons in Competition Division.
That's not bad. It's not bad at all, actually, I must say. I'm impressed.
I just want to work Morons
Quite
into
impressed.
it. You can go distributors, developers.
Actually,
Drunks.
yeah, I have one right
Drunks.
now. I have one. I have one right now. In the spirit of my good friend Justin Ochenero, who's sending me some messages on Facebook right now. More actual crying. Damn. Now you see, I won't read all the messages on air.
Here comes Brent's
Here
friend.
comes the real Brent.
Settle in.
Not the nice guy that smiles at everybody and so on.
He's
and
still
so forth.
smiling, though.
I am smiling, yeah, sure. I do smile a lot, it's true. You know what? I don't get annoyed with many things, but when people find a need to consistently just run their mouths, even after...
But yet we're still friends.
Yeah, we're friends. I don't care.
I run my mouth all the time.
Yeah, there you go. I don't really take things personally, to be honest with you. I'm kind of being accused of, oh, you were right. Are you happy you were right? I need my ego stroked. No, not at all. But it's just, it's nice to see that when you're right about something, that...
But to me, it's not even about that. It's the acknowledgement that you need to know, as the person writing to us to say, hey, you're wrong, that you also never say, hey, you're right.
Thank you. Preach.
That's
brother,
what we're saying.
That's what it is.
So you're going to come back to me and say, well, yeah, you do need your ego stroke because you listen poorly. Because we explained that the first time we said it.
Again, I will say, in a recap of last week, because I had to recap it after the show to Justin, we never said your team is horrible.
No.
We never said you guys are hot garbage.
It was kind of ominous. It was like, yeah, they're pretty good.
They're a
but
good
they're
team.
not the best.
Championship level? No, I don't think so. And they're
and that they're almost there. They need a piece. That's all we said.
Thank
we
you.
said they're
Thank
almost
you.
championship level, and we got heat.
And I made that pretty clear in the article, how you have no guys who could just take over, and not just take over a game, dominate a game, and make plays when you need a play to be made when you're bashed against the wall. You guys do not have that. You guys have a bunch of good players on your
Very
team.
good players.
Very, especially for Division E, really good players. But the fact that you've won no championships, and the fact that you guys just got your asses handed to you by primetime says a lot. Because that for you guys should have been a statement game. For me talking last week and for Peace talking last week, you guys should have came out and beat them. Doesn't matter if you win by 1 or if you win by 21. Who cares?
Or score more than 7
You guys
points.
should have came out. But scoring 1 touchdown and then, coming back at me in the email, pardon me, on a messenger. I'll be honest here. We played them in C last night, and we were up. They stupidly decided not to punt the ball. It was their second to last drive of the game. No, sorry, third to last drive of the game. They got 3 yards on first down, nothing on second, nothing on third because of incomplete passes. They decided to punt. They decided not to punt. They went for it on a fourth down, incomplete pass. We played like hot garbage in the first half, but we came back and we scored. We tied that at 40-40. We scored the goal-ahead touchdown, and they got the ball back. They went for a Hail Mary. Jared Buck actually threw the pass. Quarterback for Just for the Reps. He's a good guy. AJ Gomez.
Great quarterback. I like him a lot.
I like him. No,
I like him a lot.
He's a very good quarterback, actually. A very good quarterback. And as I mentioned tons of times this season, it's a step up from what you guys had going on before. No disrespect to Norman and Jordan Belmar, but Jared's just a better quarterback. Anyways, AJ Gomez ran the pick back, was the final play of the game for the touchdown, and that was it. Now, Justin's coming at me saying, oh, you know, you're a horrible captain. He ran it back, blah, 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 blah. I should have came and apologized to them. I'm not going to apologize for anything. I did not tell AJ to run back that pick, but I did.
He's
talk
a free
to
man.
him.
He's upstairs actually. In this building.
Actually, he does live upstairs. But I actually did talk to him after the game, and so did some members of my team. You don't know that, so you coming out assuming that everything is okay and we're a bunch of jerks. You just made yourself look like an ass, my friend. Because again, I did talk to him afterwards, and that's that.
But so also, Brent, is it your job to stop your players?
No, it's not my job to stop
the other
my player.
team.
And you know what? If you throw a bad pass, which it was a bad pass. We double rushed, and he shot up a Hail Mary, and that's what happens sometimes. I'm not going to tell him to stop running. I know I sound like a hypocrite. I mentioned it to Jordan Allard, who also plays on my team.
See, and I this is where I'm not a hypocrite because I don't mind it. Like if I'm the one who throws it, even I'm never mad at a guy who ran back a pick six because it's my fault. I threw the ball.
You know, and that's fair. And I want to put my comment in context because I called Jordan out on this show about doing it when his team was up by 1 million points. And, you know, it is running up the score when you run back a pick six. You're up by like 3 touchdowns plus. You're going to run it back to make yourself win by 4 touchdowns. That is a bit, you know, rubbing your opponent's face in it. But when we were up literally by, I think it was by a point last night, and we ran back the pick six on the final play. We scored the touchdown. So the final score ended up being, sorry, I'll give it to you guys in a second. The final score
7-point win.
Ended up being, it was a 7-point win. I think, sorry, no, pardon me, a 13-point win. So we were up by a touchdown. We ended up winning 53-40. Friends in low places, it's a variation of Just for the Reps, wax on, wax off, a whole bunch of other teams. According to Justin, it's not a bunch of other teams, although it's pretty much the same predominant rosters from wax on, wax off, but whatever, and one-man show. Anyways, long story short, my friends, feel free to come at me. I encourage it all the time. But you guys have to understand the backlash that will come afterwards.
Yeah, we'll come back.
Yes, it will come back to bite you in the ass. Like it bit Justin in the ass last night, and it's biting Justin on camera and on the show right now. Have a good night, my friend.
So the winner of Chapernims.
Spot on.
I'm going to give it to Brent only because he's introduced what I think should be a new segment called Rant Wednesdays.
Brent's Corner.
No. I prefer Rant Wednesdays. This way everyone can get a rant if they'd like.
Sure. Good man.
But I did like that. I did enjoy that. So, chat, where are we at in the show?
It's time for Games of the Week.
Nice.
There's a weird hologram of you as I put it up on the screen. It's weird.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if it actually shows up on YouTube or if it's just for me on XSplit, but anyway. Game number 1.
I am a hologram.
That's a good question.
Face Jazz versus Super Troopers. Going to Peace first.
It's racist.
Well, you'll see why in exactly one game.
I got you.
But yeah, it's also racist. Damn it, man. This team's just better when Gab Wiseman's around. Gab Wiseman's around. He was actually at Play 60 today, so I was happy to see him there. And I just don't see a way Face Jazz can pull out a win.
I do agree with you. Things do get better. When Gab's around, things do get better.
Life
today
just gets better.
Well, he helped me out. I was getting the balls for the target practice with the kids. That's putting the targets backed up. And I was handing the footballs to the NFL Canada employee, rep or whatever. And basically, Gabe came because that guy was just not looking when I was trying to throw him the ball and we're trying to run through 1 million kids at once. And Gabe came, throwing 5-6 balls at a time. Gabe was catching them all of them out of the air with my horrible passing and giving them right back to the kids. So things got more productive. Things got better. I feel you. Thank you, Gabe.
Agreed.
Next game, One Speed Power versus Dirty Mike and the Boys.
I gotta say, Dirty Mike and the Boys, this you guys gotta get your act together, to be honest. You guys have way too much talent to be struggling like you guys are struggling lately. Yeah, I know it's a bad balance here, a bad play there, but you guys want to go into the playoffs on a high note. So I think it starts this week beating One Speed Power. Sorry, gentlemen.
So how many picks do I throw to Jordan Ellard?
Jordan picked 6 LR. I have to say 2.
2, all right. That sounds about right.
Just don't throw on the side of the field.
Where are you,
At all.
Jordan? I'm coming for you.
Look, if he picks you off cross field, then I've lost all hope. I'm gonna walk out and just leave the game.
Oh, like Armando Trotta.
Yes.
Speaking of which,
The pension plan versus Sons of Mitches.
Sons of Mitches. I think this is a game that works out well because of the way the pension plan plays defense. They're not going to close gaps. Anthony CJ will, so he'll make a couple plays. But I think in general, I think we'll see Patrick Manning make plays against that stacked defense. And by that I mean a defense that plays a physical stack and not necessarily, while they're very good, not necessarily a defense full of talented players. That's what I mean when I say stacked. I think Sons of Mitches will win a tight one.
We are Farmers, versus Montreal Raiders.
I'm going to say the Farmers, but I think the Montreal Raiders will make it close. Why? Because A, it's their last game of the season. And B, because the Farmers, against some of the weaker teams, they haven't been that impressive. They beat DGC by 8. They lost to 420 Blazing. Okay, fine, they smoked here for the beer. That should happen with the talent of the Farmers.
They should have smoked 420 Blazing.
No,
That was better for the purposes of the show.
I think they tried to roll them up first, and it
Just
didn't
fell
work
apart.
out. Yeah, they used some really bad zigzags. But yeah, you know what? I'm gonna pick the Farmers in a closer than expected game.
Primetime versus Pardon My Swag.
Avery Lala wasn't there last week. He had a football camp out of town, and I believe it was Virginia, one of them. So let's say Virginia. And so I think he's back this week. That said, I like the primetime defense where Avery Lala is still discovering himself as an FPF quarterback. These guys are flag players. Cheyenne Stewart, Josh Levine, Misa Negrani, Brennan Sabloff. That's a very good defense.
Yeah.
And I think Avery's going to struggle.
Smoke and Axles versus the Expendables.
I'm going to go with the Smoking Asses. I think this would be an undercover, sneaky good game. Smoking Asses coming off of a huge win against Los Avocados, pardon me. I think they make it 2 in a row and hit the playoffs on a high note.
Rakins versus Greendale Human Beings.
The game last week against Spartans indicates to me the level that Greendale Human Beings are playing at. I think Danny Aylward's going to continue his impressive play at quarterback. He's got 44 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, ended with 50, Danny.
420 Blaze It versus President's Choice.
I'm going to go with President's Choice, although I think they're in a bit of an odd spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've basically clinched a playoff spot. So now do they try to come out and work on some things for the playoffs, or do they...
Well, I mean, they fell ass backwards into a playoff spot. I think they need to get things consistent for playoff time.
Yeah,
That's my favorite way to get into the playoffs, by the way. Falling gas backwards.
We haven't won since week 4.
Yeah, that's what we're
Hey,
doing.
we haven't
by
won
the way.
since week 2, my friend. It's been week 2 for Striking
We're
Samurais.
clinched.
Yeah, that's true.
We technically clinched week 5.
Whatever, we've clinched a non-playoff spot. It's clinching something.
Can't argue with that logic.
I mean, it is something, if not logic.
Brent,
there you go, my
Brent,
friend.
when you're right, you're right.
According to Justin, I should be stroking my ego right now.
But later tonight with your left hand. Stranger danger.
There you go, left and right. Good times. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go with Lestrada President. Again, you guys need to come out, as P said, and take care of some business, work on some stuff for the playoffs. But I like your chances in this game.
All right.
Moss City versus Friday Night Tykes.
Man, it's going to be a tough one. Moss City are absolutely impressive. Andrew Ferrier has been great, but the receiving trio of Victor Riforati, Bruno Provencher, and Benjamin Detilly has been absolutely impressive. They have over 1,000 yards combined between the three of them. That's awesome. Give me Moss City.
Homo Sapiens versus TBA.
This is going to be another good game.
Yeah.
Homo Sapiens have a chance, if they win this, to make it 5 in a row. One of the hottest teams heading into the postseason. TBA, though, I think, again, we mentioned they got their butts handed to them by Moss City the other night. So for these guys, they need to come out. Homo Sapiens are a team that could walk away and win this championship. If I'm TBA, besides the point that they need to take this game seriously, I think they need to come out of here with a W, if anything, just to give themselves a bit of confidence heading into the postseason. I'm going to loosely go with TBA in this one.
Here for the beer versus Hot Boys Hotline.
Hot Boys Hotlines, Edward Valme has 11 interceptions so far this season. I think he'll finish with more than that because Here for the Beer will not be able to move the ball well. They're going to be pressured to make mistakes, and they will. Give me Hot Boys Hotline.
Just for the Reps versus Spartans.
It's funny how life works out sometimes.
He's been getting all the ones that he's wanted to talk about.
This is going to be...
we just beat racism. I think we just conquered racism.
It took a long time, but we finally did it.
We did it.
All these years. I'd like to thank God for that, by the way. This should be... It has the potential to be a good game. It depends on which Just for the Reps team shows up. And that's the reason why I want to talk about it. Again, they got their butts kicked by Prime Time. We've talked about that now. With the Spartans, I watched their game last night against the Greendale Human Beings. Spartans should have won that game. They had a silly turnover at the end. They cost them big time. They're starting to get some of the injured players back. Charles David Martel, who was lights out in the last couple of seasons, he's started to turn his game up to another level.
I don't know if he's there the entire season in playoffs, though. That's the thing.
I think he qualifies for the play. Hold on,
but I don't know if he'll be there. Even if he qualifies, I don't know. I'll talk to James.
Sure.
And I'll get.
Well, he does qualify. He has 6 games. Because I know he was saying ahead of the season he wasn't going to play, so on and so forth. But I think he listens to James. Show up now. That's right. I forget about soccer. It's a ladies' sport, anyways. It is what it is, except for World Cup. I do enjoy the World Cup. Anyway, sorry. I think...
Just so I can have conversations with people.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you sound smart. Oh, I don't just watch football. I watch soccer, too. Yeah, it's the real football. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you know what?
Nothing from Europe is the real... Greece isn't the real economy, I'll tell you that much. France, that's not the real French. Come
there
to
you
Quebec.
Go. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I want to say Just for the Reps is because they need to win more, and they have done some impressive things. But I'm gonna go with the Spartans just because they have to be pissed off of what happened last night, and they've been hearing the doubters, whether it's you, myself, Chapman, Mo. They've been hearing the doubters.
Not
all
everybody
season.
though.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, well, close to everybody. Everybody that matters, I guess.
Yeah.
I think the Spartans are gonna come out and win actually by less than 3 points.
West, the little squad versus DGC.
DGC are in a bad spot. They're learning. They're not learning quickly. Nicholas Borelli is trying too hard to spread the ball around instead of letting the offense just come to him. He needs to learn to make reads and throw from the pocket. And the defense needs to improve because they often don't cover anyone. And Michael Kazaka is more than just anyone. He's the best receiver in the division. So give me West Allow squad.
Lost Avocados versus...
Yamajo Station.
Man, this lag
I love that
sucks
you're
sometimes.
staring, but you're the one who has to press the button.
No, but I pressed it, and it was just like it was taking its time.
Brent, what do you got?
We need new computers for this.
No sandwiches, blaming the internet,
Seriously?
blaming the computer.
Just blame
I blame the computer, not the internet. Get it right, Brent. Get
Sorry,
it right.
sir. I apologize, my good man. I'm sold on Yamajo Station. I'm jumping on that bandwagon. They've knocked off in the last couple of weeks. Greendale Human Beings, Dirty Mike and the boys. I think they go for the trifecta, if you will, against Los Avocados. I think they'll be successful.
That's fair.
In our last game, we have Striking Samurais versus Little Giants.
The strikeless samurais have been awful.
Striking it all, man.
It's what do we say? I think week 3 was the last time you guys scored 3 touchdowns. I say it. I always say it takes 30 points to comfortably to feel like you deserve to win an FPF. Strikeless samurais have not had that this season. Give me Little Giants in a blowout.
Yeah, that's it's not looking good. Injuries, lack of quarterback. Although I got to say, we put it in, speaking of AJ Gomez, we put AJ at quarterback, and he went 3 of 4, 66 yards, bad interception off of a chuck at the end of the game, but he had a touchdown. He looked all right. We had Eddie Lee, by the way. If you guys know Eddie Lee, plays on my team, a couple other teams, ICU as well. I call Eddie Lee now the new Peyton Manning. This is a guy who talked so much trash leading up to the game last week, saying that, oh, it's Division E, I could come in and throw. I'm a superstar. I'm a stud. Look at me, everybody.
It's harder than it seems.
Yeah, and that's exactly, guys, that's exactly it. So all you quarterbacks out there, I appreciate your pain because it's the struggle is real. 0 for 4, Eddie. with 2 INTs. Again, that's more
Now,
INTs
to be
than
fair,
yards and completion.
Just so everyone knows, because he might not be known in lower divisions, Eddie Lee is a stud Division
Stud
3,
receiver, stud
Division
DB.
2 wide receiver, DB, lockdown defender in Division 2.
That's true.
So I played against him in Division C, against you guys.
Yeah.
I ran a hook. He was on my left shoulder. I boxed him out. He came over the right-hand side and almost knocked the ball out of my hand. I did not know how he physically was able to get there without the benefit of teleportation. So I think Eddie Lee's invented teleportation as well. So perhaps that's why he always seems happy. Chapman, do you have a random question for us?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
How do you think the world will end?
I'll probably be sleeping. I don't know how it'll end, but I'll probably be sleeping.
I asked you how. I didn't ask you what you'd be doing.
I'm just saying. I think that. I don't know. It's a good question. Might blow up. I don't know.
They're going to have to destroy Earth to be able to build an interstellar highway, and the meaning of life is 42. Final thoughts, Brent?
I'm looking forward to playoff time.
As am I.
These games of Week 10, a lot of huge games, playoff implications. And the real season, if you will, the second season will be starting next week. So I'm.
What are you
jacked up.
doing for your article? Just so I know how to structure the shows. Like, are you gonna do like recaps and breakdown like and predictions and breakdowns of upcoming games? Or are you just doing one or the other?
Well, it's a good question actually. I think what I'm gonna do this week, I was thinking about it a little bit earlier today. I'm gonna do a recap of some of the games, obviously, because especially the ones with playoff implications. If we get a couple of early playoff matchups up on the board, I think we're going to have to dive into at least a couple of them. Actually, no, scratch that. If the playoff matches are set up, because God knows I'm not going to sit down and trying to figure it out myself using the system.
They should be done the night before. The night
hopefully.
Tuesday night after the final game is played.
Okay.
Usually by 2 or 3 in the morning, the playoff matchups are up. Rob Campana stays up late to make sure they're all done.
Okay,
And
so what I'll do
set.
is I'll talk in unison then with Rob and try and they don't have to break down every single playoff matchup. It's not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But at least for this week here, I will recap some of these Week 10 games because, as I said, a lot of these games are hugely.
I think what we'll do in this show, just because like the teams that will have lost and be out of the playoffs by Week 10, won't be watching for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just dive forward and just do predictions and breakdowns for playoff games.
Yeah.
So there we go. Script done. Chapman, final thoughts.
I really hope the refs start getting it together. When there's 12 players in the field that can notice that a ball hit the floor and was picked up and brought over to the other side, while the other two didn't. I mean, that's a problem. And playoffs are coming up. And we like to say that, the refs shouldn't win you the games, but they should also be on the field doing their job
Yeah, they should
and,
lose the
and being in
games
good
either.
position to actually make the right calls. Because
Mhm.
a small flag here, a small flag there is the difference between 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 2 and all that fun stuff. So I know it's Division E, but you guys should at least make an effort to make the right calls.
Yep. Am I going for one, going for two? I have a slight referee thing too as well. One of the things is when the snapper or quarterback asks for the rusher to be declared, it is to your benefit to declare the rusher because anyone not declared has no protection to the quarterback. I'm a snapper, so I always do this when 2 guys are lined up at 7 yards or more than one person's lined up at 7 yards. Now, when, for example, in the case of a double rush, a lot of times when I snap the ball, I immediately go at the second rusher to take him out of the play. I don't actually make physical contact. I don't hit him. I just run vaguely in his direction and stop 3 yards in front of him. 4 different refs have given me 4 different evaluations of how they saw that. Some thought it was a penalty. Some thought it was not a penalty. Some thought, well, you need to pretend to run a route. I said, well, if I pretend to run a route and then I stick my leg out and the guy trips, that's far more dangerous than me running and showing my intent to stop in front of him, 3 or 4 yards in front of him. So I think that's something that needs to be cleared up in the rule book. Something I mentioned to the rule committee head, Jason Leclerc, already. So I'm hoping that will be adjusted into the upcoming season. Also, Wednesday mornings, pay attention to the FPF Facebook group and page. If you are not already subscribed, please do so. We're going to drip feed information about the Fall Cup that is coming up, the FPF Cup, as well as some interesting things that we're doing for FPF Roadshow. It is amazing how we continue to change and improve things. It largely has to do with the restlessness of the eagle at Master Control and his ability to make a lot of my ideas come to life. Which is awesome because every conversation starts with "Peace, that's crazy, it doesn't work, it doesn't make any sense," and then the next call is always, "So I figured it out. This is how we're gonna do it." So we have an interesting package. We're gonna have a whole week of coverage. It'll be FPF, sort of like there's NFL Super Bowl week. We're gonna have FPF Championship week. It'll be a lot of fun. There's gonna be a lot of content. It's going to be a little bit crazy. I'm not going to sleep for an entire week, but it's going to be worth it because we're giving you guys something truly awesome. So thank you, Brent, for joining me today. Thank you for joining me all day. Actually, I had a good time with you today. It was a good time.
I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Thanks, Chapman, for the mediocre production work, as always.
That's what I'm here for.
Thank you all for tuning in, but most of all, thank you all for letting me be myself.